Hey, it's Catherine with ResinObsession.com, and today I'm going to show you how to blend our Color Blast resin into any color you want. Now, before you get started, I would recommend that you go by our blog and look at the How to Mix Colors article. I'll leave a link in the box below this video. But basically, what you'll find out is that it takes three basic colors, yellow, magenta, and turquoise, to get any color you want on the color wheel. And then the other two colors are here, white and black, because that's what gets you pastels or kind of darkens the colors down a little bit. So just a few basics about mixing our Color Blast resin. We also have a video on how to do this. But our Color Blast resin mixes with 2 parts resin, which is part A, to 1 part hardener, which is part B. Okay, so at a minimum, you need to mix 10 cc's of resin to 5 cc's of hardener. That's your minimum. Once you get above that, as long as you stay in that 2-to-1 ratio, it's going to mix just fine. So what I have done is this is my color wheel. This is kind of what I'm working with today. And this is the color that I want to achieve, is kind of this red violet. And in double checking with the article on our blog, what I need to do is mix a little bit of turquoise with a big majority of magenta. And so step 1 before you get started is you're going to want to mix the resin with some kind of a good stir stick for 2 minutes. And when you do this, you want to scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. And this really isn't any different than when you get paint from the paint store. You just want to make sure that you have a nice, thorough, mixed color throughout. So I've gone ahead and done that. And now at this point, what I need to do is start to measure out my resin. Now, when you mix your colors, you want to make sure everything is mixed before you ever add your hardener. And what I'm going to do today is mix the minimum. So I'm going to try and go with just 10 cc's of the resin. And I highly recommend that you use the measuring cups. They're marked on the side. It's really hard just to eyeball what you need. So there's our 10 cc mark. And so what I can kind of figure from looking at the article is that I need a huge majority of this to be the magenta and literally just a drop or 2 of the turquoise. So you can pour directly from the jar, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. And I leave a little bit of wiggle room when I'm doing this, so I don't get it quite all the way to the top, and I can just kind of top it off as I need to. You know, obviously keeping in mind that whole 2-to-1 ratio thing. So there we go. Let's clean up our mess. And you can wipe this off too with a cloth before you put it away, a cloth or a paper towel or something. Okay, so you can see here, literally, we are almost to the 10 cc mark. So what I'm going to do right now is just do a dot of the turquoise. So not too bad. It's maybe a little lighter than what I was going for. I was trying to get that color. So at this point, if I wanted to, I could add in a little bit of black. But I kind of like that, so I'm gonna stick with that. Now, because I went over a little more than what I was anticipating, you know, I'm looking at the side of my cup here, and it's a little hard for me to pick up and show you guys. But basically, I've probably got closer to 12 to 12 and a half cc's of resin. If you can look here, it's right about just a smidge under 4 drams or so, or close to 3 drams. So now what I'm going to do is pour about 2 drams or so, or 1.5 drams of the hardener in a separate cup, and we're going to make sure we still stick with our 2-to-1 ratio. So now I've got 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener, and now I'm going to mix these together, and then I'll go ahead and use them in my resin project. You've got about a 30 to 60 minute pot time or so with using this resin. You'll notice when you pour your hardener in, it's going to kind of separate, or it's going to look like it's separated. You can see here on top, see how it just, the hardener goes right in on top, and it just looks like it's not going to blend, and you're going to be like, oh my god, what'd I do? But this is okay. This is kind of how it starts in the beginning. Just keep working it. You want to stir for about 2.5 minutes or so. Make sure to scrape your sides and all around, and then your resin will be ready to use. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, it's been 2.5 minutes. You can see that our resin mixed up very nicely. When you're working with this resin, you're going to notice it's thin. This is not suitable for doming, but what is really super nice about this resin is because it is such a low viscosity, it's got this amazing bubble release. And so after you pour it into your projects, you're going to notice that you're going to have hardly any bubbles to remove, which is really great, especially if you've been working with resin for a while. You know, bubbles is a dirty word.